Canadian businesses.
What do we call that?
Canadian organized labor, Canadian civil society,
There's a
Canada's
name for that.
premiers, and tens of millions of Canadians from coast to coast to coast are aligned
Fight
and
for us.
united.
What is it?
This is Team Canada
Yeah!
at its best.
Team Canada at its best.
Can you see by the dawn's early light?
Raptors game.
And they've got to stop it. And if they don't stop it, the tariffs are going to get worse, a lot worse.
Mr. President,
Tariffs are going to get worse, guys. Right here. CBC is wacko. Okay, I'm getting pushed out of the line, she says. They're pushing CBC out of the line. Oh, man. It's really priceless. You could see, listen to the panic in her voice. Oh, my God, they're doing this to me. They're Clinton Jaws, based in Canada. Please subscribe. It's the only thing I care about. Let's be friends. Wow. Look what's going on, and look what is going through everybody's mind. I want you to watch this. I want to show you something. I think it's a... You want to know why Trump's doing this? I'll just tell you. I wasn't going to tell you right off the bat. He doesn't like the administration. He doesn't like liberals. It's 6:40 right now, Sunday. Trump just spoke 20 minutes ago. He spoke to what Canada did. I'm going to show you what he said. I'm also going to show you what Trudeau said yesterday. A small part. I'm going to show you what Poilievre said yesterday. Or this morning. And I'm going to show you the most amazing piece of information that you have not seen in a video clip. I'm watching Trudeau yesterday, giving the best speech I've ever seen him give. And I realized, Clint, afterwards, dude, you're getting sucked in. That's what happened to you, Clint. You got sucked in. Because he's a master at it. And a lot of people in Canada, they also got sucked in, like I did. Do you not think what's going on right now makes him happy? His speech is flawless. And then he says this.
Geography has made us neighbors. History has made us friends.
Friends.
Economics has
Friends.
made us partners. And necessity
That's what he
has
wanted.
made us allies. If President Trump wants to usher in a new golden age for the United States, the better path is to partner with Canada, not to punish us. Canada has critical minerals, reliable and affordable energy, stable democratic institutions. Less than 1% of fentanyl, less than 1% of illegal crossings into the United States come from Canada. As neighbors, we must work collaboratively to fix this.
Now they're neighbors.
Unfortunately, the actions taken today by the White House split us apart. I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods. With all that said, I also want to speak directly to Canadians in this moment.
What? A little
I'm
silly.
sure many of you are anxious, but I want you to know
Turning me on.
we are all in this together. The Canadian government, Canadian businesses,
What do we call that?
Canadian organized labor, Canadian civil society,
There's a name
Canada's
for that.
premiers, and tens of millions of Canadians from coast to coast to coast are aligned
Fight
and
for us.
united.
What is it?
This is Team Canada
Yeah!
best.
Team Canada at its best. That's it. Right there. What do you think he's doing? Do you not think he's gloating right now? The best thing that could have ever happened to the Liberals is this. Because it has nothing to do with the Conservatives. This is Team Canada versus Team USA. For the past 10 years, He has split Canada in half. There are groups of people that hate other groups that I've never seen before. I'm in Mexico. I'm in Puerto Vallarta. I videotaped something. Canadians about to get arrested. It's on my Twitter account. They're brown. Okay? East Indians. I don't know if you're allowed to call them East Indians, Indo-Canadian. I don't know. What do you call them nowadays? I don't know. But I say Canadians. Everybody comments, they don't look like Canadians to me. That would have never happened 4 or 5 years ago. But it's because of him. It's what he's done to Canada. He's made people hate other people. He has split Canada. And that's what he's doing again right now. We're not blaming Trudeau right now. We're blaming Trump. Catch yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? He's responsible for this. This weak little man who has done nothing to make Canada better. He hasn't made Canada better, just weaker. Plastic straws into paper straws? No, you can't build a pipeline? We should have spent this time not having to rely on the United States. And now, do you know what they're doing? When they sing America's national anthem? Yesterday.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we
NHL.
hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
Raptors game. They boo the entire song. Right on, right? No. Don't you see what's happening? Don't you see what's happening? Trudeau has made everybody fight. Now he wants us to hate America, just like we hate other groups now in Canada. This is Trudeau. And it's making him look great. It's making the Liberals look great. The Liberals are now here to save us. They're trying to get your vote. This is the perfect thing. You don't think he wanted this? He absolutely wanted this. If the Liberals have a chance, this is what's going to save them. Because they're going to start printing more money for you. Oh, your business is not doing well? You're not doing very good because of Trump's tariffs? Let's cut some checks for you like they did in COVID. You know that's coming. How do you win an election? That's how you do it. And honestly, he almost caught me. Until I started thinking about it. Dude, you have wrecked us. This is you. Are you talking about punishment? You're talking about Trump punishing you? What have you said for the past 10 years? You hate Trump. You hate America. You talk about America being friends? You can't stand them. I stood up to Trump.
I've stood up to Trump, and I have stood up to Putin. Juvenile, playground insults from the wannabe, MAGA, maple syrup conservatives do not frighten me at all.
What did you say, Trudeau? When they didn't vote for Harris?
It shouldn't be that way. It wasn't supposed to be that way. We were supposed to be on a steady, if difficult sometimes, march towards progress. And yet, just a few weeks ago, the United States voted for a second time to not elect its first woman president. Everywhere, women's rights and women's progress is under attack, overtly and subtly. But I want you to know that I am, and always will be, a proud feminist.
You absolutely hate America. We all know it. And I said so many times, stop poking the bear. And what do? We poke the bear. What's that going to do? What's that going to do, what he just did? How many tariffs is he putting on America? What's that going to do? What's that going to do for us? Trump's just going to increase the tariffs. Why wouldn't he? He doesn't like you. He hates you because of what you said about him. And yeah, we do have a border problem. A huge border problem. I was a cop in Abbotsford, Mission. There's borders everywhere around. Borders surround Vancouver. Do you know how many border crossings there are? Do you really think that people are they're really there's a lot of security around these border crossings? No, there's not. I've had calls. People jumped. People crossed the border. We're looking for them. Be on the lookout. If you guys want to be mad at Trump, go ahead. But shouldn't we focus our energy just because we know he's stepping down? Doesn't mean we can't still say F Trudeau. Because nobody's doing it anymore. Don't forget, guys, he's still in power. He hasn't left. This is what Poilievre said this morning.
Canada is the United States' closest friend.
No, they're not. Trudeau ruined that.
My message to the Liberal government: put aside partisan interests and recall Parliament.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea, but not going to happen.
It is insane that in this great crisis,
I agree,
Parliament is shut down.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. To deal with crisis and a power struggle within the Liberal Party. Let's put aside partisan, political interests.
We want to win. We're
and
liberals.
Recall Parliament to pass into place a common sense Canada First plan.
They're not doing it.
And here's that plan.
What?
1, we must retaliate dollar for dollar, carefully aiming those tariffs at maximizing the impact on American companies while minimizing the impact on Canadian. We must maximize the impact on American companies while minimizing the impact on Canadian consumers and businesses. That means targeting U.S. products that A, we can do without, B, we can buy elsewhere, or C, best of all, that we can make here at home. That best example of that would be steel. And
Poilievre wants us to throw some tariffs on America. Is that the right call? Is it? I don't know. I'm not a politician. I'm just a dude in a motorhome, but I'm thinking we only weigh 68 pounds because isn't that what our Canadian dollar is? How does a 68-pounder win against a monster? But I guess they know. I guess that's the right idea. But wouldn't the monster increase the tariffs? That's what you call a war. Let's throw some comedy in here, okay? Before I get on to the next part. Because this is what CBC says to him. Right here. CBC is wacko. Okay, I'm getting pushed out of the line, she says. They're pushing CBC out of the line. Oh, man. It's really priceless. You could see, listen to the panic in her voice. Oh, my God, they're doing this to me. They're Just watch this interaction.
Sorry. Who's next? Sorry.
I'm being pushed out of line for some reason. I guess CBC is allowed to ask questions now.
CBC isn't allowed.
Talked about
sometimes we like to hear from local media.
Do you believe the government's promise of $155 billion in counter tariffs is enough? And what would you do differently to get the president to change course? And to clarify your last question, are you saying that you would step aside and not compete for the head of the country to allow us to get through this crisis? Or I'm unclear about your answer to the last question.
Well, I find it a strange question. CBC is asking me to step aside in the next election. It's a very strange request. No, we're not going to suspend democracy. The Canadian people run this country, and they will choose the next Prime Minister. Thank you very much. Next question.
Thank you. Next question. Thomas Hill from Bloomberg. You mentioned the economic jeopardy for American...
I love it. I love that part. You want to know something? You know what Trudeau's plan is with the border? How much money do you think Trudeau has put into the border so far? How about zero money? Trump is saying, protect your border. Do something about your border. Do something about fentanyl. Has he done anything? Do you even know how much money he's put on this? I say zero. He hasn't done anything. He actually has a 6-year plan. Can you believe it? What's going on? And his plan is 6 years long. I guarantee you, if I'm prime minister. And I don't want any of this to happen. I might be saying the words, build a wall. Would that not be music to Trump's ears? And shouldn't we bring music to his ears? Or do you want to fight until we're defeated? Canada, all you've been hearing lately is, we're responsible for less than 1% of fentanyl entering, I don't even know what they're saying. 1% of what? I don't even know what they mean by that. It's only one, it's minuscule. Oh. Do you want to know about the problem? This is the most amazing thing I've ever watched. Daniela Cambone on YouTube, who's amazing. Might have a small crush on her because she helped me out in a bad time. She has this Sam guy on her podcast. He explains it to you. He explains to you exactly what is wrong with fentanyl. It comes into Vancouver. That's kind of a big deal. I'm going to show you a clip of this. It's kind of a big deal. Remember, British Columbia, they made drugs legal. So to get around all of this, China sends it to Vancouver. Watch this.
I discovered that Canadian regulated casinos, first and foremost, currency shops, and real estate development were being used at scale for Chinese money launderers. It's called the Vancouver model of money laundering. And as I unwound and broke that story, 2017, it becomes front page news of how BC government casinos are used in this money laundering model. And to get, to the end of the story, before filling in all the blanks, eventually I learned that Chinese state-sponsored, so we're talking about Chinese intelligence, Chinese military, was directly involved with these underground Chinese criminal networks that were facilitating this massive money laundering, which tied into fentanyl, cocaine, money moving around the world.
So the drugs are coming in through Vancouver, right? Then spreading across Canada and getting down into the United States.
Not a big deal.
Absolutely. And just to break that down more slightly.
Break it down.
As you know, the fentanyl precursors themselves are often not
China.
Illegal. So China ships the precursors into the west coast of Mexico and the west coast of Canada, because we know that U.S. law enforcement is going to have a much stronger control on the American west coast. And so Vancouver is used for those precursor hubs, the precursors to come in. They're printed up in pill presses and super labs, they call them, factories in British Columbia.
Couple of them.
And shipped around the world. And the money collected from those sales, this is where these massive piles of warehouse drug cash, they're collected in Vancouver. And ultra wealthy businessmen, Chinese Communist Party officials, they call them whale gamblers, gangsters, fly into Vancouver. They take this drug cash, walk into casinos. The money is laundered and it goes back to these Chinese factories, and the precursors come in again. That's the Vancouver model, and it works with the Mexican cartels as well.
Why would Trump have a problem with that?
So the Chinese are aware of this weak link. You name politicians and business elite, including former ambassador to Canada, Dominic Barton, who you say facilitated and helped the criminal enterprises get a secure.
He talks about the Liberal government being involved.
Academic investigator of Chinese intelligence operations says people at the level of Mr. George Soros have been targeted in these sort of elite trade influence operations.
Who else?
And so the question here is whether those people sort of wittingly acquiesce, or do they know that they're being targeted for influence in China's trade? And so I think that sort of question would extend to Mr. Mark Carney, who's now running for the Liberal leadership as well.
Oh.
Well, I want to say, because, the Desmarais family, how far back does this go? Is it just so entrenched and tied to the Liberal government?
I would say, in my own view, absolutely. And I'll cite you a former high-level RCMP investigator named Gary Clement. He has written op-eds for my entity, the Bureau.news. I cited him in my book.
Listen to this story, Gary.
And, what he and his cohorts, who were involved in Hong Kong when Canadian police and intelligence was concerned with China's influence in Canada. They say that Power Corporation and Jean Chrétien, the former Liberal Prime Minister, have direct dealings with entities such as CITIC, which is a major global investment vehicle for Chinese princelings. That's the clans that run China. And as the US military says, CITIC is involved in Chinese military operations. So Mr. Chrétien, Power Corporation, and the Desmarais, whether wittingly or not, are involved in business relationships that Canadian intelligence, US intelligence, and the US military has concerns with. And to square the circle here, I believe this circles back to what President Trump is concerned with in Canada, in Panama, and other nations.
So obviously, your research and reporting took part under Trudeau's tenure. He's aware of this. Has he commented on it? Have you spoken to Prime Minister Trudeau or received comment from his office on this, Sam?
He gets the runaround when he confronts Trudeau about this.
Can you explain this donation, and does it not seem suspicious?
Can you explain it, Trudeau?
And essentially, they give a boilerplate answer to the effect that the Liberal Party of Canada follows all relevant election financing rules. And, in my book, I stress that the photographs of Mr. Trudeau with individuals that are documented officials, essentially, in China's foreign influence arm, which is the United Front, they're difficult to explain away. And I do think I have some inkling of feeling that the US government is also concerned with those types of funding relationships Mr. Trudeau has. But to reiterate, I haven't had a response from Mr. So you could say that Justin Trudeau, Jean Chrétien, Paul Martin, even some Conservative Party leaders in Canada have bent over to, take, let's just say, funds from China, and have turned a blind eye to the what I call the dark underpinnings, which is trade-based money laundering, fentanyl money laundering, fentanyl deaths, and
yep.
Right. This is what Donald Trump is now saying.
Well,
but
and of course,
but I do have the evidence that he's being funded by people that are connected to organized crime. That's indisputable.
Trump has been clear about why.
Did you know this, Canada?
Mexico, citing China.
This guy tells you a story how he goes to court and he testifies, and then he gets a visit from the RCMP saying your life is at risk. He ends up moving to America because of this.
Do I need to run my business from Canada if I'm not protected here?
Sam, you're leaving me speechless and with goosebumps about how Canada, for decades, we've lived off of this image of being like Switzerland, squeaky clean.
Yeah, we're sweethearts.
And now it's really come back to haunt us.
Yeah.
It's really come back to haunt us. And
let's just boo Trump.
Based on what you're saying, it's all just been one big mirage. And I feel that we're taught as Canadians that we're so good. We often have a elitist view to the people in the US, and we've been wrong. I believe that. Yeah, and to your point about customs, if I could just say one thing, when the first instance of the threats of the tariffs, we saw Justin Trudeau immediately run to Mar-a-Lago and immediately just show all of Canada's cards, telling Donald Trump basically, well, if you do this, it will destroy Canada. In my opinion, just adding leverage to President Donald Trump. That's exactly what he wants to hear.
That's exactly what he wanted to hear.
Trudeau didn't read The Art of the Deal, apparently.
Right. Then, President Donald Trump does have a right to go after Canada. And like you, as a Canadian, I'm saying it. Keep doing the incredible work you are doing. Honestly.
Yeah, why?
You are risking, I don't want to say it, but you are risking
a lot.
A lot. I like the way you put it.
So I just want to say a lot.
Yeah.
China ships precursors, fentanyl precursors, to Vancouver, and there's 2 super labs, and politicians in Canada want you to think we're not responsible for anything. It's less than 1%. If it's less than 1%, then you're doing a pretty bad job at the border. When in 2017 or whatever year they seize half a ton of this stuff with basically no charges, it's no wonder you made drugs legal in British Columbia. All drugs. And maybe I'm talking out of my ass like I don't know what I'm talking about. But you get the drift. You kind of get the idea. And maybe I've made a few mistakes. But our border is loosey-goosey. Believe me, I've seen it. There's nothing but borders everywhere. You can't control it, and they're not controlling it. And they should have been doing it. And he hasn't done it. This is what Trump said today. 1 hour ago, he says this. He hates liberals. And I don't blame him. Look what the liberals said about him. Doi.
Well, it could happen if they do anything, we will. Canada's been very abusive of the United States for many years. They don't allow our banks. Did you know that? Canada does not allow banks to go in. If you think about it, that's pretty amazing. If we have a U.S. bank, they don't allow them to go in. Canada's been very tough on oil, on energy. They don't allow our farm products in, essentially. They don't allow a lot of things in, and we allow everything to come in. It's been a one-way street. We subsidize Canada by the tune of about $200 billion a year. And for what? What do we get out of it? We don't get anything out of it. I love the people of Canada. I disagree with the leadership of Canada. And something's going to happen there. But if they want to play the game, I don't mind. We can play the game all they want. Mexico, we've had very good talks with them.
No more liberals, guys.
This is retaliatory.
No more liberals in Canada.
Retaliatory to a certain extent. Millions of people flowed into our country through Mexico and Canada. And we're not going to allow, no, I'm not concerned. We may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that. But long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world. We have deficits with almost every country. Not every country, but almost. And we're going to change it. It's been unfair. That's why we owe $36 trillion. We have deficits with everybody. We help everybody. We've been helping everybody for years. And to be honest, I don't think they appreciate it. So we're going to change that. We're going to change it fast.
No, they don't.
Make America great again. I'm speaking with Prime Minister Trudeau tomorrow morning. And I'm also speaking with Mexico tomorrow morning.
Trudeau's talking to him tomorrow.
I don't expect anything very dramatic. We put tariffs on. They owe us a lot of money, and I'm sure they're going to pay. They have to balance out their trade, number one. They've got to stop people from pouring into our country, and we've stopped it. They haven't stopped it. We've stopped it. They have to stop people from pouring in, and we have to stop fentanyl, and that includes China.
Fentanyl's not a problem.
Has killed this year at least 200,000 people. It's pouring in from China through Mexico and Canada.
Are you saying users are losers? Because in Canada, there's a stigma, okay? And we don't want that stigma with drugs. Users are winners.
And they've got to stop it. And if they don't stop it, the tariffs are going to get worse, a lot worse.
Mr. President,
Tariffs are going to get worse, guys. A lot worse. And they might. And you can boo whoever you want. But there might be a depression. If that happens, Canada might go into a depression. And I guess we blame Trump. We boo Trump. We don't boo Trudeau. I've had enough. I've been doing this video for 2 hours. You have no idea. I'm going to try to make it into 30 minutes, but I just wanted, this is my take on it. Well, it's their take on it. I'm just showing you facts. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
I've stood up to Trump, and I have stood up to Putin.